Just waiting for Jim and Joe to give me some good news. It's 8 o'clock. Where are you guys? Waiting for my good news. Get your fat ass online already.
What's your take on this wide receiving core?
Oh, I think it's terrible. I think it's awful. I think it's absolutely horrendous.
Wait a second. There's a penalty on the play, and I'm like, what?
Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk from two men in the know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
Joining us on the phone, we have NFL prospect and future XFL player Jeremiah Spicer.
I don't know, man. I don't like to talk about myself like that, man.
Yeah. I told him if the Raiders took in Oliver, I was going to take him in the bathroom. He won twice.
Here's the last time I checked, I am God, so slow your roll. Slow your roll down.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome once again to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Nodos? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the Know. We are ready to go and talk some football, and we got a lot to talk about because there are some trades that are happening.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is the time, Joe. We're getting into it's about another week or so to go.
Tuesday, October 29th is the deadline, 4 p.m. Eastern, and we've seen a lot of trades happen already before the trade deadline is even here. Just imagine that there's going to be a few more trades as we get closer.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of stuff going on there with the trades and things. This past week, again, it doesn't let us down. Some of the games that we thought, were going to be a lockup games didn't turn into it. And Sam Darnold seeing ghosts on the field as he's playing the Patriots somehow. Yeah. And there's rumors now, or people trying to start rumors, that you might eventually see Tom Brady as a Chicago Bear. And craziness here in the NFL. But thanks for checking in with us. We are streaming live from YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook all at once right here. So come on in, stop in, say hi, send us a comment. If you want to talk about something along with the games that we just saw this last week, go on, say hi.
Really, just anything football, even if it's your fantasy teams. We know people are getting ready for fantasy. We're halfway through or a little bit over past halfway. We're getting closer to those playoffs. If you have any questions or comments or anything you need to bounce some ideas off of everybody, feel free and go ahead and do so.
Yeah.
Another thing too is just want to say thank you to everybody out there. I mean, we normally say thank you towards the end of the show, but I want to say thank you now because we know some of our viewers catch us early and then ended up bouncing out halfway through. But thank you guys. Thank you for all the support. It's been truly amazing.
Yeah, so, some of the things that happened last week, Green Bay came in there and stomped the Oakland Raiders, just getting that offensive going. People were talking about how they weren't getting it going here together.
I have one thing to say. They did not stomp the Raiders. And you might look at the score and say, oh, yeah, they stomped the Raiders. No. I'll tell you this right now. The Raiders' offense moved at will against that Packers defense, and the Packers defense could not figure out how to stop them. The big problem was the Raiders' defense. Raiders' defense just didn't show up. Not on the field. They were almost better off just not coming out of the tunnel.
We had a good matchup here with the Indianapolis Colts, too, and the Houston Texans. I keep wanting to say Rockets for some reason. I don't do basketball. I don't know. I want to keep saying the Rockets, but Houston
NBA.
Texans, though. And so talking about the Texans and stuff, there was big trades that went on this week. So let's just get right into it. We do a segment here on the show. It's called Grade the Trade here. And what we're going to do is we're going to have some fun and look at the trades that went on this past week or so. And we're going to just take a look and see what they who offered what the other team ended up getting, and we'll just kind of give a grade to it. You guys can play along too as well, and let's see what your grades are too as well along with this. So the first trade I'm going to bring up here, let's talk about your Oakland Raiders and the Houston Texans here. And we've got Gareon Conley. Now, I was very surprised with this trade. When we were talking to Raider Bear, and I watched his show a little bit after our show, we were talking possibly about getting Jalen Ramsey when he was available and bringing him in along with Gareon Conley too. It's a 1-2 punch here on that defense. He did get beat a little bit last week here, but he still got drafted in 2017 as their first overall pick, and I thought he was going to be the future of their defense here along with it, and he's been playing well. I mean, he still has a pick, and I think he's up there almost leading the team in tackles. I mean, he's doing fairly well, and for a guy that's only his basically second year playing because he got injured in his first season, I didn't see the trade. I didn't see why they decided to trade him.
Well, he hasn't been playing well. Not under this defense. He really hasn't. The interception
numbers are there.
The interception that you brought up, it was an overthrown ball right to him. It's nothing that he's made plays on. He's been burnt several times over week in and week out, and that's really the problem, is that he's not playing as well as he was a season ago. A season ago, he was starting to come into his own. He was starting to play a lot better. And this season, it just seems like everything's off the rails. He's getting beat consistently down the field, and it's a concern for Paul Guenther's defense and everybody around him. So, and the other thing, too, to keep in mind is, even though Gareon Conley was slated as the number one corner for the Raiders, they have a lot of younger cornerbacks that they want to get out on the field, and they saw an opportunity where they're like, well, with Conley struggling yet again, Paul Guenther wasn't in the here's the other thing too, is that Gareon Conley wasn't a Gruden pick. You know, I know everybody kind of puts it out there and says, oh, well, you know, Reggie McKenzie's guys that are still remaining, you know, when are they going to end up leaving? Well, quite honestly, he's never been the pick for Gruden and his staff. And Paul Guenther, I mean, they just seen, you know, the part where it's time. They decided to move on from him. They got a third-round pick for him, and we'll see where it all ends up. You know, if he makes a difference for Houston, which I think he will. I mean, there's not a whole lot there in Houston in terms of cornerbacks, so he should play a big part for them.
All right, we've got John Turner joins in here with us. He's one of our know-it-alls, and he says the Raiders have been loading up for Vegas since they hired Gruden. So, I mean, they've been definitely doing a lot of getting picks and trading late talent to try and load up on picks and youth there, and guys that will probably be Gruden guys, like you said, and fit the system.
Right.
Josh Jacobs was a great pickup for them. He seems to be their cornerstone behind their whole offense, which play smash mouth football like he used to do with Mike Allstott, you know, back in Tampa Bay, you know, and keep running it with him, and then, you know, make some nice smart passes here along the way.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Jacobs has actually been a pleasant surprise for the Raiders. You know, they were very high on Josh Jacobs coming into it, and then after you see the results on the field right now you're kind of scratching your head and wondering, how did he slide so far down in the first round, right down to the Raiders at the 27th pick? And now you're seeing the fruits of all that, and it's really paying off for them.
Oh, man, he says the Texans and the 49ers are loading up for a failed championship run.
It could be.
Could be.
I mean,
but you know what?
We'll
the thing
see.
is, the Texans, you know, what was the one complaint is they did need a corner, you know, to help them out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they go for it, and they go for a corner here.
The
so
thing is, they
he's
don't
younger.
need just one. They need several. They need
that's
a
true.
lot of help in the back end there. So maybe this might not be the only move that they make. Who knows?
So, all right, let's give it a trade here, Joe. Let's look at it. Let's say Gareon Conley now from the Raiders to Houston. Houston gives up a third-round pick for Conley. Now, what do you think is a good grade for this overall here?
Well, I mean, I already told you it was B+.
Oh, you're B? Oh, you want a B+? All right. Let's do a B+ then. All right, here we go. All right, you've got it a B+ here for this trade. Now, for both parties here, again, we don't know exactly the results here. Once you know, we see this as it goes. This seems good for both parties here, you know, for a B+. And, you know, they could help each other out here.
But
The
here's
third
the
round
thing, too,
is gonna be bad.
is Gareon Conley, he's got to fit the defense. You know what I mean? Like, the Raiders already kind of, through trial and error, they've already made that inclination. They're like, you know what? It's not going to work for us long term. We're not going to pay this guy big money when his contract does come up. And quite honestly, let's get something now for him and move on. And they've decided to do that. Now, the Houston Texans side of it, they're getting a young, talented player who they could groom, and hopefully he'll be able to stay with them long term.
All right, here now. John Turner brought up the San Francisco 49ers and how they might be loading up for a failed championship. So that will bring us to our next grade the trade that we have going on here, and that is Emmanuel Sanders. He ends up shipping out of the Denver Broncos here along with a 5th-round pick, and he goes to San Francisco, and they give up a 3rd and a 4th now for an aging wide receiver here that fantasy-wise I think has put up some really great production for the team. As far as a whole, though, for this team, hasn't been like a real highlight. It's been mainly Cortland Sutton here is their main dude, and I think that's why they're fine moving on with this guy and a 5th round. So they're basically dumping their kind of lower end, not, I wouldn't say garbage, but I'm saying it was like I think it's a win more for the Broncos here, and for a 3rd and a 4th for the San Francisco 49ers. Now that could be a little suspect on that team. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, with Denver Broncos, it's John Elway running the team. So, I mean, I'm sorry, but he can get all the draft picks he wants. He still fails in the draft year in and year out. Until that guy gets kicked out of the office, I mean, I think that Denver Broncos franchise is going to be in turmoil for quite some time. But for this trade, there's some things I like about this trade, and there's some things I don't. I don't like the fact that the Niners gave up a 3rd and a 4th for Emmanuel Sanders, an aging receiver. He's still adequate. He still can make plays for them and stuff. But the Niners have a lot of youth in that receiving core. So I'm kind of like wondering, did they make this trade because, yes, Sanders can help them out in the short term and also maybe help groom these receivers along the way as they play? But, I mean, long term, you just gave up a 3rd and a 4th. Sanders coming to town. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to help you right now, but I just question. I don't think it's something that they needed. I think they should have went for something else, maybe offensive line. I mean, because, yes, they are due to get back Mike McGlinchey and Joe Staley soon. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, you got to think long-term, too. So, I mean, Sanders, is he really a long-term option? Not really. I mean, maybe what? What does he have, 2 more years maybe?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. And plus, you got to remember, too,
rounders you can turn in
he's
something.
Also coming back from a big injury. Mm-hmm. Now he's healthy. Now, will he sustain that health going forward? We'll have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. I like some things and I don't like other things. But, I don't know. I think they should have went a different direction.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for, that's what I mean. When I look at the value here, if you're seeing a 3rd and a 4th and there's a 5th on the other side, then I'm averaging that the receiver has got to be worth like a 2nd rounder in a sense. So you're getting a 2nd and a 5th for a 3rd and a 4th. And as far as Emmanuel Sanders, I'm not sure if he's a 2nd rounder. Again, he's longer in the tooth now. He was more of he had his prime, I would say, when he was with the Steelers, and that goes a way back.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, and like you said, since Cortland Sutton came in, he's kind of been the back end of this whole thing. Just great for fantasy points to pad your stats, especially.
And that's the thing too is draft picks are like jewelry in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Owners don't want to give them up too often. You know what I mean? Because they're valuable and they want to hold on to them for the draft. Because we've seen year in and year out, you're able to get a steal in the 4th round, and he comes out of nowhere and he's like an all-pro. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, you can even point to Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. The Patriots, they dug him way down deep into the draft, 6th or 7th round pick, and now he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, so there's guys. Yes, I'm not saying it's easy. You're not going to just find those guys easily, but it can happen. So when you give up these potential draft picks for an aging player, you got to kind of wonder.
All right, yeah, and John Turner says slot has been the issue for San Francisco here. Sanders moves to the 2, and 2 moves to slot. So, I mean, that could be it there.
The one thing that I'll say about the 49ers is that they really do like Deebo Samuels, the rookie, and he's been playing a lot of a receiver in the slot position. He's got to stay healthy too. But like I said before, they do have a lot of youth. So bringing in this guy Sanders, he's going to help them, no doubt, right away. And he just mentioned Jimmy G gets another reliable target.
Yeah,
correct.
Exactly. I agree with you
Correct.
there too. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the one thing you do have is you have experience, and he's been there, and he should be pretty reliable with his hands. That's what you expect with some of these guys. But again, as far as youth and speed and turning things over, they have already those guys there. So hopefully maybe they're thinking about Emmanuel Sanders just adding another target. He might be a nice go-to guy underneath in the slot, like John's saying here, to dish it off to in case they want to go and guard Goodwin over the top here to stop a bigger play, or Samuel. So that might work out for him in that sense, but you got to watch out for these young guys. They still want to get them involved, and they're big players, just like with the Jets. Jets liked Robbie Anderson and thought they could do it without it, but then they go and get Demaryius Thomas, thinking he's going to be reliable, and he had a bad drop this week and stuff like that. It's like, what are you doing? I mean, you're supposed to be a veteran here.
Right, and you just brought up a name in Robbie Anderson, who is right now in the league. His name is getting floated around right now in terms of a possible trade target for a potential team. But the Jets, I think, are going to be big sellers. I know that they're trying to build for the future, but in order to build for the future, I think they need to build for maybe some draft picks. And there's a couple of names. Robbie Anderson is one of them. Another one is Leonard Williams, the D tackle / D end.
Him for a few weeks.
Very young, talented player. I mean, a really good player, a Pro Bowl type of level player. And what's happening is that the Jets don't want to pay him the big money. His contract is ending after this year, and they're looking to unload him now because they don't want to front that money up for Leonard Williams to stay. I've heard in minimal discussion that Jamal Adams is a potential trade target as well. I just think that's a little far-fetched. I don't think that the Jets are going to trade away their cornerstone of their defense to get a high picks or whatever. So I don't think that is going to really go anywhere. But I do think that Leonard Williams is a strong possibility, as well as Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, so we'll look for that. Who knows? I mean, the Jets, they definitely have to do something here. And along the lines of, Le'Veon Bell, I mean, he's probably not happy, too, with his situation, thinking that he had maybe something he could start here with New York, and it's not going too well so far. And I've even heard some people complaining that think they should just try and move Le'Veon Bell. And I've even heard the murmurs of Chicago, like Le'Veon Bell to Chicago, and maybe Chicago give the Jets some compensation for that. That way make Le'Veon happy, and then you get something for the Jets. But I don't know. It's all rumors right now. We are looking next week to get NFL trade rumors on our show to talk about some of this stuff going down around the trade deadline here. So we're still working that out. And don't forget, next week is our Halloween show too. It's very exciting here. Some people that don't watch us all the time, you just get into us. Every year we do a Halloween show. We decorate and everything and stuff like that. We're all dressed up. We have a lot of fun, and definitely tune in next week for that too as well. So we're going to be following this closely with all the different trades going on.
Should be exciting. Should be fun.
Yeah, it's going to get crazier towards the end. But as far as Emmanuel Sanders here and the trade to the San Francisco 49ers, overall, we're just going to give this a C+ grade here because, again, doesn't look like, San Francisco, they kind of reached, I think, on this. They could have maybe, if they wanted a receiver that's semi-reliable here or somebody that's been in the league for a while with experience to help these younger guys out, or a better target for Jimmy G, they could have went somewhere else and give it up a third and fourth. I mean, that's tough, especially for a team here that seems like they could be on the rise altogether here. So, and
that's why I think they really kind of pulled this trade off for Emmanuel Sanders. They're thinking, hey, we need a veteran type receiver to come in to also patch some holes here. We do know that the receiving core has been banged up from time to time, so maybe they go ahead and they get a reliable target like Emmanuel, and hopefully he could help them push them into the playoffs.
As far as Le'Veon Bell here, John Turner says Bell to the Jets was DOA. Yeah, you kind of knew that. I mean, in a sense, again, we had Super Jets fans here. We had Eric Hanneman from 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio on here a couple of weeks ago. He was high on the Jets. Some people, because even the point spread, or not just point spreads, the average or the points for them to go to the Super Bowl was like a good money value pick for him to make it. But come on, man. I mean, you had flash and glare a little bit with Le'Veon, but you get Ryan Khalil out of retirement. You still have the offensive line that you had last year, which is kind of aging.
I mean, the interior of their O-line is solid.
The
problem is their tackles are absolutely horrendous. And this past week, you saw that both their starting tackles were not even there.
Not even there.
So they were down to their backups, which I can only imagine how much worse that is.
we saw how much worse it was,
going
right?
back to the whole Le'Veon Bell thing is we weren't happy about that move by the Jets to begin with before the season even started. We were saying that Jet fans and NFL fans and whoever alike are going to be upset by this. Fantasy football fans, we'll throw
fantasy
you guys
football,
in there.
definitely,
Because he's going to be disappointing. And everyone's like, no, he's not. He's Le'Veon Bell. Yes, Le'Veon Bell is by far one of the best running backs. But when you put him on a crappy team like the Jets, I'm sorry, Jets fans, but it's facts here. There's nobody to block for him. So what are teams worried about with the Jets? Last year, they almost have pretty much the same receiving core, except they have Crowder and Chris Herndon's been banged up, hasn't really been able to participate, and now it's all on Bell. Here's the rock. Here's the rock. Here, I'm going to throw it to you. Hit it. He's getting beat up. Defenses are not scared about Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
They are attacking Le'Veon Bell and making sure he's a non-factor. And then what do you have? Now it's one-dimensional all over again. Sam Darnold, all the weight is on Sam Darnold's shoulders, and he can't deliver. He keeps throwing interceptions, making bad choices. And when there's pressure on him, it just gets even worse. We saw that against the Patriots this Monday night.
Yeah, where they played better against the Patriots when they had Falk in there. So, I mean, it's pretty sad when your third stringer plays a little better. And, yeah, they didn't see enough of Le'Veon Bell on Monday night. It wasn't enough. And then, so that's what you said, that people trying to pressure, they're not afraid of Sam Darnold.
No.
And they threw it out there. They didn't make it hard. And it's sad for that defense because they tried. They did what they could. Greg Williams tried to do what they could, and they did fine. Or else it could have been even a bigger score because a lot of those points were off of turnovers by the New England defense and in special teams. So, I mean...
I just don't know what
the New England offense didn't do that great. That first drive was fine.
Right.
Besides that, they didn't do anything.
I just don't know what happened to the Jets defense from last week. The week prior,
they
were so much better. They were on point. They were all over the field, and they just dismantled the Cowboys' offense. And then I understand, they played a better offense, a better well-run offense. I get that. But they're rivals. They should know each other well enough to know their tendencies. They should know what they have to do to at least attempt to slow them down. And they look like they had no clue what they were doing.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to be a Jet fan right now. It's tough to be a Giants fan, too, as well. But I don't want to talk about that right now. But anyways, we're doing Grade the Trade, ladies and gentlemen, here tonight. So we thank you for joining in with us. So our next trade and our last one here we're going to talk about here is people are talking about is Mohamed Sanu now from the Atlanta Falcons going to the New England Patriots. And like John Turner said, with that whole any given Sunday, anybody can win. That's the thing about the NFL is exactly right. And like you said, also that's why you play the games. You might look great on stats or your roster looks great, but it's all how they play. So here we go. So we got Mohamed Sanu going to the New England Patriots for a second-round pick, and that seems a little inflated here. John Turner says Belichick takes away what you do best and second best. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why he's the greatest.
The funniest thing is everyone Belichick's a genius. Oh, my God, he's amazing. Yes, is he really smart? Absolutely. But it's not like it's rocket science.
Yeah.
I mean, he does it to every single team. I don't know why people don't do what Belichick has been doing for the last 20, 25 years, 30 years. It's when you play a team, what's their biggest weapon? Okay, what can we do to take him out of the equation so that gives us a better chance to win? It's not rocket science. It's very simple. And just because Belichick does it week in and week out, it's just
I don't know why they didn't try and put Le'Veon Bell. If they're going to go spread, put Le'Veon Bell out there in a wide receiver position against a linebacker. That's the matchup you want.
I just
against
don't.
The Patriots
Again, the way Pittsburgh Steelers use Le'Veon Bell, they used him to the fullest.
Yeah,
they used him in the backfield. They used him in the slot, which created enormous amount of mismatches. And he's a great receiver. He can run routes very, very well. So I just don't know what Adam Gase's mindset is right now. You have a team that you're trying to build and trying to get better, but you're not, disguising some plays, getting some creative offensive plays in there to kind of spice it up a little bit. Show that there's some kind of life on this offense. It's just pretty mundane. It's the same play here and there, basic play, just like he was doing in Miami. Nothing really creative. So I just don't know. I don't see a very I don't see a bright end in the tunnel for the Jets right now. But they got to get something figured out in New York.
Yeah, so I mean, talk about the Patriots here. They go and get, they've been it's been a turnstile, I would say, I guess, for wide receivers for the New England Patriots this year. They try out they've got Josh Gordon, but again, whether it's injuries or just his mental health and things, he just cannot stay on the field. So he's not really working out for them altogether. They place him on IR. They tried Demaryius Thomas. He, once they got Antonio Brown, they decided to move on from him. Then now they move on from Antonio Brown after all the rape charges and everything else. So they're going through different wide receivers, and now they bring in Mohamed Sanu. And some people, again, thinking that a second-round pick might be too rich for an aging wide receiver. But he does have great hands, and we've been a big supporter of this guy because, again, he holds camps over the offseason and has other wide receivers there, and they work out together. So, I mean, he's physically gifted, and he can catch. He's got great hands, so it's something that the Patriots need. Tom Brady with some of the other wide receivers out there. But the second-round pick, you got to kind of look at this second round for me, because look at the way the Patriots are playing, and they're guaranteed to go deep into the playoffs, if not the Super Bowl. So this potentially could be basically the last pick of the second round, which is almost a third. So for Mohamed Sanu, I would say that's about right. I'd say, for him, for his quality. And he's only third on the Atlanta Falcons because they have Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones. And, they also have Austin Hooper as a tight end. So, I mean, that kind of depth makes it a little hard.
Yeah, I mean, here's the other thing, too, is Mohamed Sanu is a great route receiver. He's absolutely – and he has great hands. So, I think he just fits the Patriots offense to a T. He's exactly what they need to kind of open this up on the field totally. I mean – I understand Josh Gordon. He's been in and out of the roster. He's been injured. He's been dinged up, and the Patriots kind of had enough of it. So they didn't want to wait around. They wanted to make a change, and the Patriots know they are undefeated right now. They are right in the running to have a nice, easy pathway so far. They haven't really faced a lot of tough competition. They've kind of been able to skate through their schedule, their very easy schedule. And it's expected. So as long as they keep doing that and they build that resume for a number one seed going into the playoffs and getting a first-round bye, they felt if they pulled off this trade and get Mohamed Sanu now, that's just going to open up their offense even more. I mean, look at all the weapons they got. I mean, we talked about how deep this receiving core was already. Now, even if you get rid of Gordon and you replace him with Sanu, who I think fits the offense better, you have Edelman still there, Sanu. You have Jacoby Myers, who's an underrated talent for them. They're still grooming him. He's doing a decent job there. Philip Dorsett, who used to be an Indianapolis Colt and was kind of written off by Indianapolis, like he's not going to do anything. He's not doing anything for us. We can't work with him. The guy is a talented receiver. Now he's found a home in New England and has kind of rejuvenated himself as a player with New England. And they also have another guy by the name of Matthew Slater, who really hasn't gotten on the field a whole lot, but he's another guy that doesn't have that much recognition, but he can play when given the opportunity. Also, do not forget, everybody, that the Patriots still have N'Keal Harry, who's getting healthier week in and week out right now. He's close to returning, and when he does, they'll have another receiving target to throw to. So they're still extremely deep in that receiving core, and now by adding Sanu, I think it only makes this offense even better.
Let's see, John Turner, he's got a bunch of up here. I'm trying to get to him. He says back here about Le'Veon Bell. Pittsburgh had the best line in the league last 3 years per Football Focus. This year is a miss. Yeah, definitely here. No days off. Next man up, he says about the Patriots, and that's what happens here. And on to Cincinnati. Patriots don't display their team until week 14. That's what I was kind of looking up here to see who they're playing. What is it, 8, 9, 10, 11, was that the Chiefs? Maybe the Chiefs or the Bills game. They mix in packages and moving parts until the playoff push. Yeah, that's what the Patriots do. Yeah, definitely. And you would think that some of these teams would try and copy some of what the Patriots do. But, I mean, it just, it's tough to be the best.
Listen, it's a copycat league, and teams do attempt to copy other teams' successes. However, you have to have the right personnel for your team, for your scheme, in order for everything to work. And until teams get that down, it won't work. So, I mean, you would like to copy the Patriots, but listen, first you got to get all your ducks in a row, and you got to figure out what kind of players you need to make your defensive or offensive scheme better. And that's really where it starts. So, you're never going to get to that caliber of play unless you start from the foundation and work it way up.
We have Mike Tackett is in the house now.
What's going on, Mike?
There you go. Mike Tackett's in the house. He says, "Happy Wednesday, gentlemen. Just tuning in. What's your guys' opinion on when a team is playing at an extremely successful level with their backup? Are you in favor of keeping in the backup as long as they are hot, or do you make the move to the more high-profile quarterback once he's healthy, regardless of the team's success?"
I know where this is going.
I know. I think he's talking
Kyle Allen.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's let's
there
just
you go.
bring the cat out of the bag right now, because I'll tell you right now, if the Carolina Panthers, their offense right now is on fire. And it's because of Kyle Allen. He's been able to not only just step in and kind of, what's up? You got a doorbell?
Yes, that was right. Yeah, no.
I mean, you're telling me
the
I'm
right.
right?
You were right.
Oh, okay.
That was right.
That's the right bell? Okay. I wasn't sure if it was a doorbell or.
I don't know. That's almost like
you got so many bells going on over
there.
there. But anyway, but no. And here's the thing is, since Kyle Allen stepped in there, a lot of people thought like, hey, listen, kid, don't mess this up. All you got to do is be the game manager. Take it easy. Don't make mistakes. He's taking this offense to another level. I mean, way better than what Cam could do. I mean, and it's quite simple. It's because he's a better passer of the football. He's more accurate. He makes better decisions, a little bit quicker. He just gets rid of the ball fast, and it's usually the right decision all the time. And because of that, this offense is really starting to take a big leap forward instead of kind of just being that run-heavy offense, and they still run heavy, but they don't have to now as much as they used to with Cam. It was surrounded by the run with Cam Newton at the helm. Now Kyle Allen's been able to open up the playbook a little bit more and distribute the football to receivers and get the ball in the playmakers' hands and make it work. And because of that, and because of all the success he's had up to this point, I'm sorry, you do not pull the plug on him. In fact, I would not be shocked if Cam Newton is dealt before the trade deadline. Because if you're having this much success with a backup who could easily just now become your starter from now on, your franchise QB, you could get some good compensation for Cam Newton. Now, I'm not the biggest fan on Cam, but I'll tell you right now, I think he's a tremendous athlete at the quarterback position. If teams if team wants to take a chance maybe and bring him in, I mean, you look at the Miami Dolphins and what their situation is. Yes, they don't have weapons. We get that. But it's almost like Brian Flores brought in Ryan Fitzpatrick. He traded for Josh Rosen and was like, we'll figure it out as we go. Here, you start this week, you start next week. And it's like he's just trying to get an idea of what he potentially would want in a QB. Maybe if you brought Cam Newton into the fold, it's a completely different type of quarterback, first of all. And maybe with Brian Flores' offense, maybe it might suit Cam Newton better. And who knows, maybe they could have a franchise QB in Cam in Miami and then build around him that way. But there's plenty of positions, teams that are looking for quarterbacks, so we'll have to wait and see how everything shakes out. But no, I would not take Kyle Allen out at all.
Yeah, and then John Turner brings up, if it's Minshew, you stick with Minshew. Yeah, and that's an interesting situation,
absolutely,
too, because Nick Foles, again, if he's going to be healthy coming up pretty soon, he's practicing now. What do you do there with Minshew? You keep him in, or you got Nick Foles, because you're paying 100%. Nick Foles a lot. So now say, let's fast forward to the end of the season here. Now, Nick Foles, do you keep him as, now probably your most expensive backup, or do you, and are you working something out there? Are you going to try and trade him again because he might want to start somewhere?
I'll tell you right now,
what's going to happen?
I wouldn't
with
even
Nick
wait
Foles
till
there?
the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but if
Once
you
he can throw and
if
he's
you can
practicing
get,
right now, so maybe try to make
if
it
he's
the deadline?
healthy, absolutely. I'm looking to trade him again. And I'm sorry, Nick. I mean, this is kind of like your MO. You always like you do well for a team, you get traded away. You do well for a team, you get so. I feel bad for Nick in this whole situation. However, it is what it is. This is a business, and they have some capital right now in Nick Foles where they could potentially move on from him and trade him to another team. And get some compensation for this upcoming draft that could help rebuild some of the pieces that they've kind of traded away. Like we look at Jalen Ramsey, he just got traded out. You know, they didn't want the salary, didn't want the problems anymore. Bye. But now you have a hole at corner, so now you need to replace that. You need to somehow figure out who's going to replace that void there at the cornerback position, and that could happen in the draft. But maybe you pull off a trade. You get an extra draft pick or two for Nick Foles for the upcoming draft. You can package those maybe to move up if you needed to get that corner that you really want. Or if you're thinking elsewhere, or if you have those couple of draft picks, maybe you pick a little bit lower and you're able to get a couple of potential player starters on that team. So there's a lot of different ways you can play this. And also, I would not be surprised either if Gardner Minshew was a hot name. You know, maybe if there's more teams out there that are looking at Gardner Minshew rather than Nick Foles because of the age difference, you know what I mean? Foles is a little bit older, and teams are interested in Minshew. The Jaguars could play with the idea of trading Minshew.
That would be crazy for me because how long have they've been looking for a quarterback, and then they finally have a youthful one here that seems like could lead them to some victories here and be their future. Because that's the only thing, though, too. No, I hear you there because he did enter a little later than he probably should have.
I think he's about 27.
So, but also, you know what's funny is this question here that Mike brings up. It kind of relates to a lot of teams because what have we seen this season? A lot of injuries with the quarterback position. Ben Roethlisberger, Mason Rudolph. I don't think you keep Mason Rudolph in here, and you know Ben Roethlisberger. He isn't coming back this season. No. But I mean, next year again, you make decisions. You know, is he going to finally retire or not? Then you've got to be forced to put Mason Rudolph in there. People are talking Mason right now. Should they, which is I think is preposterous, is should they try and trade the Saints, trade Drew Brees and start Teddy Bridgewater and keep him in as your guy?
No.
Yeah, I don't get that either. Listen, but some people are
Drew
just
Brees'
big Drew Brees haters.
Expires this season, everyone. His second year of his deal is done after this season. Now the Saints, they're going to wait. Their team is fully prepared to make a big, deep playoff run right now. Their defense is playing better than ever. Their offense, even without Brees, is still able to put up points and win games. Now you put Drew Brees back in as early as maybe this week. They're talking like he may be playing this week now already. I would be more on the cautionary side because of how well they've been able to put up points on offense so far with Teddy B and Taysom Hill. Maybe you give him another week off, just maybe, if he's kind of on the fence, 50-50 of being 100% healthy or versus not, I'd give him one more week. But hey, if they're fully confident that Drew Brees is 100%, go ahead, throw Drew Brees right back in there and your offense is just going to take off.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I think he's not talking about is Matt Moore with Patrick Mahomes. I'd say that's the one that doesn't stick there. But besides all the other ones, Kyle Allen, I agree with you there. Cam Newton, it could be exciting here. Maybe he is going to go to somewhere else. Miami's a good spot. I thought it'd be hilarious if he went to Tampa Bay, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
But
I will be disappointed if Cam doesn't get dealt. Because that shows me that Ron Rivera, he has major say in the organization. That tells me that Ron Rivera and the front office, I know they've always been backing Cam Newton and everything, but this is the time where you found a quarterback that is younger and is making your offense better. Now, to have Cam hang around would be awkward at the very least. So I think it only makes perfect sense to move on from Cam, get as much compensation as you can, and move on and prepare for the future.
All right, now getting back after, but that was a great question by Mike Tackett here. He always brings us some great questions
Definitely.
here in
Thank
the
you,
debate. But getting back to great in the trade here now with the Patriots, they do what the Patriots do. I think this overall is an even trade for me, from my standards, because of, again, that's pretty much looking at I'd say the first
That's
pick.
the number 1 third-round pick.
Yeah, exactly.
everybody.
Basically, when you're looking at it. So overall, we're going to give this trade a B. So it works out, I think, for everybody. Sanu gets to be kind of a star now.
And it would have
finally
been
over
an
this
A
team.
if he was younger.
Yes.
A little bit younger, maybe, 27, 28.
Well, what's funny is because we've talked about Mohamed Sanu to Brittany Devane, now Brittany McHatton, and I had tweeted or sent her a direct message about it, because again, she's like, "Oh, I didn't know so much about Mohamed Sanu. You guys really like that guy." And I was like, "Yeah, I tell you, man." And then now he's playing for her team, so now she gets to see a lot of them. She could be very excited and see firsthand and what he could do. All right, so that is our grade the trade segment. Yeah. All right. All right, Joe, you know what time it is, too. We're going to go right off from grade the trade, and we're going to bring it right into our
fact
That's
of
right.
the
It's our
day.
in the know fact of the day. See that little light bulb right there? This is a cool fact. I like this fact right here.
do we
I
got?
dug deep
What do
for
we
this
got?
one.
What do we
Check
got?
this
What do we
out.
got?
Really?
What do we got?
All right. A lot of people don't know this about the NFL. They think there's big multi-billion-dollar company, which they are in this
They
and this.
are.
But the NFL is a non-profit, unincorporated organization. Because it does not make a profit, it does not have to pay income tax.
Bullshit.
All teams except the Green Bay Packers pay the tax because they make a profit. So
It's
there you
terrible.
go. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I actually knew this fact, and I think it's absolutely preposterous. Like how can you? Oh, we're not for profit. We make $10 billion, and we
Yeah.
just you know what they and
All that money goes to making your product better, Joe,
well.
and making the
Wait-
owners
wait
money.
a
That's
second,
what it
wait
is.
a second. Make the product better. How about you hire full-time refs? I mean, I've been screaming to
Hey,
the top
and
of
it
my
goes
lungs
to Roger
about
Goodell
this.
too. He gets paid very
Did
well.
it,
by the
oh,
owners, so.
absolutely. You think that
See,
dude
that's
is
the
not
thing.
getting
Everybody's
paid well?
getting paid. It's just
Come
funny how the loophole around it.
Yeah.
They make all this
Yeah.
money for everybody in that. It's involved in it, but all together as the organization, technically, legally,
Right.
they don't have to pay tax
They don't have
on
to.
anything. Isn't that
It's-
amazing? But the
it's-
owners do it. They still do it. But that happens. They're used to it. That happens. They're used to it. But
It's
they're
insane.
usually big multi-conglomerate owners. They own a lot of other businesses on top
Yeah.
of their teams and stuff too. So they know how to make money there. So
For
that
God's sakes, hire full-time refs.
that's right. So that's our in the know fact of the day, Joe. All right. All right. So
Oh,
that's going to
boy.
bring us to our next thing. Let's just get right into the drop then, too, Joe. Let's just keep this show rocking and rolling.
Alrighty.
Yeah, let's do it. Here we go. Fade into the drop. All right. Let's do it.
Raiders and tight end Darren Waller agreed to a 3-year, $27 million contract extension, locking up Darren Waller, a guy that was kind of like a no-name, a guy that kind of just no one really. This is the funny thing, and this is why Gruden and his staff, they never stopped scouting. They never stopped looking. Darren Waller was a practice squad tight end for the Baltimore Ravens. They saw him warm up when they played the Ravens. They saw him warm up last year, and they're like, we want that guy. Now he's the starting tight end and is tearing up the league.
Yep.
He has better stats than Travis Kelce, everybody. A guy that's kind of just blowing up and no one is even talking about it. Also in fantasy, he's just killing it. Former Broncos and Texans quarterback Brock Osweiler retires from the NFL at the age of 28. So Brock, the Rock, you couldn't stick it to the NFL. You couldn't stay on a team and become that franchise guy. And now, sadly, you're just off into the sunset.
Who knows? Maybe the XFL will bring him up.
The
One team-
XFL could be calling,
Could be.
but the XFL, they already designated the
Yeah,
starting
they got it right
QBs.
now, but who knows?
Who knows what
Injuries,
happens?
people leave. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
The Chargers announced that wide receiver Travis Benjamin has been, you guessed it, placed on the IR. He's been dealing with a quad injury, and the Chargers decided it's better off just to put him on the IR. Yet another player on the IR. You look at also the offensive lineman Forrest Lamp is now on the IR, a starting guard. He's done. Marquise Pouncey, he's done. They're just falling apart. And the only bright side this week for the Chargers is that they're getting Russell Okung back this week again on Sunday.
At least there's a bright side.
A little bit, not much. Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes will miss anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks after dislocating his right kneecap against the Denver Broncos. A little bit more on this story is that he's actually already started practicing already, and he hasn't even made it through 1 week. You know what I mean? So maybe this injury is not that bad.
Right.
Maybe the injury isn't as bad as they initially thought it was going to be. And who knows? Maybe he's a fast hero like Adrian Peterson.
Who knows? Maybe.
Maybe
We'll
we'll
see.
be back in 2 weeks. I don't know.
Just not, a lot of people are saying don't push it, though. We'll see.
I wouldn't push it.
I wouldn't either.
I mean, listen, you got one of the best offenses in the NFL, and if you're going to rush Mahomes back and then gets re-injured, and maybe then could just be done for the year, I don't think you
And
want
it's not
that.
like when he left the game, they weren't putting up points still after. You know what I mean? They kept doing it. You know,
Matt
kept
Moore
scoring,
really
so-
lit it up.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's not like they were stale after that. They still did all right.
They weren't as successful. I'll know that. It's very notable.
Just saying.
Patriots cornerback Stephon Gilmore invites a 12-year-old female football player, mind you, to a Pats game. She has been, in her school, she's been bullied just because she's playing football as a girl, unfortunately. But Stephon Gilmore, he's seen this young woman playing football for her school, and Stephon Gilmore just said, you know what? I'm down with that. Would you like to come to a Patriots game? I'm not sure if she's a Patriots fan, but nonetheless, it's a pretty cool thing.
No, God!
Lions quarterback Matt Stafford, fastest quarterback. Now listen, all you haters out there about Matt Stafford, check this stat out.
Yeah.
Fastest quarterback in NFL history to reach 40,000 passing yards.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Everybody
we already
keeps
knew that.
Everybody keeps
Yeah.
hating on this guy,
Yeah.
but he just keeps knocking down milestones. Start liking the guy. Stop hating.
It is pointless to resist.
It
my
is.
son.
Detroit Lions running back Kerryon Johnson has been placed on IR after undergoing a knee procedure, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN, ending his season. Right, you could say that again. Kerryon Johnson is done. So the Detroit Lions, they lose a big part in their backfield, but there's another Johnson that's going to end up starting.
I know, but I picked Detroit last
Johnson.
week too, man. And once he went down, Darius Slay went out. I knew that because I was so happy the Lions were winning, and then it was just over after that. I'm like, damn it. Right. That's what I was saying. I was like, no.
I mean, and that's the crazy thing about last week is there was a few games last week that were like you saw it going one way,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it took a
There was
abrupt
a second half
turn,
Yeah.
and I was like, what just happened? Ravens linebacker Pernell McPhee expected to miss rest of
my
the
uncle.
season due to his injured tricep. And here's something to watch for is like the Ravens, we seen that they traded Kenny Young to the Rams. Another pass rusher, Pernell McPhee, is now injured. Look for them to possibly be players for another pass rusher before the trade deadline. Houston Texans wide receiver Will Fuller will miss several weeks after suffering a hamstring pull against the Indianapolis Colts. This guy, this poor dude, he can't stay healthy a whole season. He just can't.
I know.
It's always hamstrings, too, with this guy.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. There's a banana peel out there. I'm not sure.
Hall of Famer Raiders cornerback Willie Brown has sadly passed away at the age of 78. Willie Brown, your family, your friends, condolences, prayers are sent out to you. It's always a tragic thing when you lose somebody, and unfortunately, Willie's gone. Raider Nation. Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network reports that the team has signed former Cardinals, Falcons, and Ravens cornerback Justin Bethel to the New England Patriots. So the Patriots are picking up another cornerback, maybe just for depth. Maybe they're going to utilize him, in the starting rotation. We'll have to wait and see after he learns the playbook. But nonetheless, the Patriots keep adding to that roster.
I'm not too worried about that one.
NFL Network's Tom Pelissero reported that the Detroit Lions are sending the 26-year-old cornerback and a 2021 seventh-round pick to the Seattle Seahawks in exchange for a 2020 fifth-rounder. And who is that player, you say? It's Quandre Diggs. The cornerback / safety for the Detroit Lions. This is a trade that I did not like for the Detroit Lions. He's 26 years old.
Yeah.
And a talented defensive back. So why are you unloading that kind of a talent now from your team when your team isn't like, it's not like they're 0-6, 0-7.
Yeah, you still have an opportunity.
They're still like in the mix here. I just didn't understand this trade.
I don't even exactly understand the
really know.
value either. I don't like it at all.
And to be honest, I mean, I would grade this an F.
Yeah, it sucks.
I think it's bad for Detroit. I think it's great for the Patriots, or for the Seahawks, but adding another
definitely.
DB. But for the Lions, it's an F. For the Seahawks, I think what they gave up is an A.
Yeah, I agree.
And there you have it, everybody. That is
That's
the
it for
drop.
All right.
Yeah, not a whole lot of news going on.
Not a whole lot because we've been talking about trades all night long here. Yeah, so I mean, there's a few that we left out here because they're interesting to talk about a little bit, but Justin Bethel and picking him up too. That's not a trade, but they picked him up, and I don't care about that. But the Diggs, yeah, that's very interesting there. But again, it seems like Seattle seems to won over teams on some of these trades. You know what I mean? And getting the best out of some of these. It's pretty amazing.
This is another part of the trading scenario for teams.
Mm-hmm.
Is we always like to, pick apart the trade. We always like to say winner and loser of the trade, that type of thing, because it's fun to talk about.
Yeah.
But there really is a winner and a loser because are you giving up way too much for a player? Mm-hmm. Are you giving way less? You know what I mean? I mean, you're giving a talented player away like the Detroit Lions. They gave away a 26-year-old talented defensive back for nothing, really. I just kind of I'm trying to figure out why teams do what they do when they're not out of the running, or it's just a bad trade altogether. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost sometimes comes down to it with some guys when they get released, surprisingly. Like Elijah McGuire for me is out there, and I've seen the talent I think that he has on the field, and he just got released again. Mm-hmm. He can't find a team, and I've just kind of scratched my head. Is it a he's got an issue like off the field, something going
Very
on
possible.
there? We're not sure, what's up with that, that he can't find a team to stay on there because I think he has some talent and could be seen on the field, but I just don't understand it,
I mean, it also could come down to because they just didn't fit in. You know what I mean? Teams bring players in.
Right.
And if they don't, we've seen it multiple times by the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
They bring in a guy, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, we signed this free agent, we signed that guy. And after several weeks, and they're just like, no, we're good. We released them.
And as far as keeping things under wraps, you might want to take a look at Arizona, what's going on there with David Johnson. He was set as the number 2 back last week, and Edmonds was in there, and they just signed Alfred Morris off of the waivers too. So what's going on there? Is there an injury?
David Johnson's
Lincoln?
injured.
Yeah, that he's done. I was going to say because
David Johnson right now, I don't think it's been officially reported yet, but I'm expecting him to be on the IR and done for the season, and that's why you're starting to see some of the moves that the Cardinals have made. They really do like Chase Edmonds at running back. He really kind of
last week.
He blew up last week. Because he got the majority of the carries in the starting role. And you look at the Alfred Morris signing, and there's a player that no matter where he goes, he's successful. He's a good running back, and now he finds a home in Arizona. So that could be a nice, good 1-2 punch there after he learns the offense.
Absolutely, yeah. So if there's anything you guys want to talk about, go ahead, post it in the comments. We are broadcasting, streaming live from Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube right now too, as well. All three all together. So if you're watching from any of those platforms, come on in, say hi. We can see all the comments here.
And if you really love us, if you really do care, if you really love us, you'll subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yeah, you should. We're a lot of fun. You show up every week. Next next week is our Halloween party. You got to show up for that. That is awesome. We have a lot of good times here. We dress up and have candy and all kinds of stuff. So Mike Tackett joins us here. He's one of our know-it-alls. He is our last week's MVP of the show. So, I mean, he was in there bringing this stuff last week. So here we go. He goes, am I the only one who thinks A.J. Green to Buffalo makes too much sense? I wonder what is stopping Mike Brown from pulling the trigger. That would give Zach Taylor and company much-needed draft capital and some more building blocks in Cincy. Adding Green to play opposite John Brown with Cole Beasley underneath would scratch that itch in Buffalo for an elite wide receiver and immediately improve the 12th worst passing attack in the NFL. Yeah, I mean, again, I would like that too as well. But, again, it seems like he said, they don't want to pull the trigger. Like, they're really hesitant on what's going on. And A.J. Green still, again, he's not. I mean, he's still nursing his health here. So it's like a weird.
That's the sticking point
aura
right there.
Around this whole thing.
The sticking point is just because he's not 100% healthy, where teams have already called Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And they've already kind of like said, hey, you know, what's the ballpark figure on if we could get a trade done? Are you interested in trading A.J. Green? Are you not? They're trying to put feelers out there to see where Cincinnati stands with A.J. Green. And because there hasn't been anything like concrete happening, it's because he's still not 100% healthy. And it's funny because the Bengals have not told anybody like the whole Patrick Mahomes thing. 3 to 5 weeks. There's no like hardcore ballpark figure of what week he'll be returning, and it's got to make you wonder a little bit. Like, is he ever going to play this season? Because it seems like every time Zach Taylor gets asked, hey, how close is AJ Green to coming back? Well, he's still working on the side, and he just gives the generic answer and doesn't give a time and says he's close, but he's still not ready. Oh, that's just great. So I'm assuming that behind closed doors, teams have a better idea. They've probably talked and said, well, he's a couple weeks out, he's 3 weeks out, whatever. But you can't trade a guy that's injured. So if somehow A.J. Green can find himself healthy enough to pass a physical, then you could see A.J. Green getting moved on to another team that could really use him, like Buffalo. And, Mike, you're not alone. I mean, I think it just makes too much sense to not send him to the Buffalo Bills. And there's other teams, too, that are still looking for receiver help as well. Now we could probably, I'm going to say probably, take the Patriots out of it since they pulled off that trade with Sanu. But A.J. Green, nonetheless, who knows? He's still up in the air. We'll have to see when it comes down to October 29th, 4 p.m. Eastern, the trade deadline. Does he get dealt or doesn't he?
Yeah, and the thing is, I think the only flash of the passing offense that we saw was last week, and it was against the Dolphins. I mean, we really haven't gotten to see. Like, I was excited to see Cole Beasley there, see what they could do. John Brown, I mean, he's doing decent for them. But again, adding A.J. Green to it, I mean, that's another weapon for him to have. Who do you cover?
But what you're doing there is, you're right. You have another big-time weapon.
Guy.
But Cole Beasley, he's a great slot guy. He's great, and he does get the ball, on those little 5 to 10 routes that he runs. He runs precise routes. He does a great job there. John Brown is an underrated outside receiver, but he's not a number one.
Right, exactly.
He's more of a number two guy. So has blazing speed, can get open. He again, what they've done with those two players, they've added two players that run great routes. They have hands, and John Brown has way more speed than Cole Beasley, but they're a little bit different from each other. But what they need is that 6'3", 220-plus pound A.J. Green. Imagine having him as your number one receiver. Not only do you have size, but he's also a dynamic Pro Bowl type receiver when healthy.
There you go, because size matters when it comes to football too. We always care about that, don't we, Joe?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Come on.
Yeah. All right. So talk about size matters. We have a competition going on here.
We do.
Yeah, that's right. It's our NFL picks competition that we do. We've been doing it like this. Last year was our first time we were competitive. First year we did it together. We did pretty good.
This is the second annual NFL picks. Know-it-all pick 'em.
Yes, what we are playing for is this right here. It is not a trophy. It's not a championship. But this is a clear football here that we are going to be drinking alcoholic beverages out of.
I drank a
basically
lot
just
of
one,
vodka last
and
year.
this is about a half gallon, I think it is. It was just about. It was a lot. It was like half a bottle of vodka, I think, pretty
was
much I put in
3/4.
there. So, so we did pretty good. That's what it's for. The loser has to drink this on air, and we have a great show. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
Well,
I'm excited whether either I win. Like last year, I won, and I didn't have to drink this.
Yeah,
and I still had fun.
I think it would be even better if you did, because
Perhaps.
who knows if we'd even have a show by,
There we
by
go.
this
Who
time.
knows? And what could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Yes, but you did do a show by yourself too, so you kind of know how to run this stuff too. Maybe
I
we'll
do.
swap chairs. You know,
I do. Maybe for the drinking part.
perhaps. But I mean, like I said, if I lose the competition, I win still, because then I get to drink this and have a lot of fun. It would be a lot better than when I ate that Trinidad scorpion pepper or
I don't know
whatever
what you're
on the
thinking,
air.
bro.
So that was terrible.
I don't know what you're
Yeah.
thinking.
Well, anyways, here you go. We got the picks competition, so we are going to be doing our weekly picks. Let's take a look at the standings right now here,
Boom,
Joe.
tied up, baby.
Boom, look at that. We've been going toe-to-toe, blow for
go.
blow, back and forth with this whole thing. Like, for the last couple of weeks, I took the lead, then you took the lead, and
Now
I
we're
took
tied.
it back, and now you had a big week last week. You got me by one more, so you brought it back, and now we are tied once
And
again.
frickin' Seattle should have finished the game off strong, and they would have had it.
Yeah, definitely. There you go. You know, Mike had Baltimore on that one with us,
The
so I think
Texans
he did
was
a
a
little
close
better
one?
there. Texans was a close one. That was tough, and we all picked that one. Where we were different on was Detroit, and that's where I was excited at the beginning of that one. We were winning. Detroit was winning that one, and then again the injuries happened, and Minnesota kicked it into high gear and scored that extra, the second touchdown to put the game away. And what was the other one we had differently here? It was. Seattle was different. Baltimore, and Philadelphia and Dallas. That's the one
Yes.
where I pulled out the win there. That was
terrible.
That was a terrible game for the Philadelphia
Oh
Eagles.
my God!
Yeah, but you know
Did
what?
they-
too,
Do they?
they had a lot of injuries on offensive line there. It just wasn't all there for
They
them,
were missing Jason Peters,
you know.
but I don't really think that was the sole purpose why they were just playing terrible. They played terrible. Bottom line, I mean, their offensive game plan. What the is going on with Doug Peterson?
I don't know.
What is he thinking? Because when I watched that game, I was absolutely floored on some of the plays that were being called. They were just horrendous at the wrong time. He ran in the first series. He ran 3 straight times. 3 straight times. No passing, no mixing it up, no nothing. Hey, we didn't have any success on first down. Let's try to run it on second down. Well, not much success there either. Let's try to run it on third down, third and long. I just don't know what the Doug is doing. I'm at a loss for words, because the offensive play calling I saw in that game was absolutely atrocious. He was not prepared. He did not do any, and he didn't even change it at halftime.
Yeah.
Didn't even do anything. So, and then when you have the Eagles defense, which is already struggling to stop the passes, they can't stop anybody, you know. So you made Dak Prescott look like an all-pro again, and Zeke ran all over the Eagles.
All over, yeah.
They just couldn't find an answer
Yeah.
to stop him. So Eagles looked really bad on both sides of the ball. Offensively, I think that's really because of Doug Peterson's game plan, and defensively, they just didn't have an answer for anything.
Mike's chimes in. He said, I'm not sure what my record was for last week's picks, but I was pretty damn close with the Patriots game. I predicted a victory 34 points, and they won by 33. That should count for something, I guess. I can tally them real quick, but I think you had Joe had 11 wins. I had 10 wins, and I think you might have, because you just picked a little different on here, maybe 11 too as well with Joe. I go back through, but I know it was like 11, maybe 12, but I think it was 11. So you're right there with us, Mike. It's awesome. We had Brandon on here doing picks with us too. It was a lot of fun when we go through and do that. But bringing up the Eagle game now again with the Dallas Cowboys, you know, I was kind of saying the same thing here, Joe. I had to hold this moment here. What's wrong? What is wrong with the damn Eagles here? And what is wrong with Nelson Aguilar? Did you see that deep post that he did in the middle? Did you see that, Mike? Mike, I want your opinion on this one. I mean, because I showed people the videos that didn't watch that game. Yeah. And, dude, you're reaching out for it. You were down, by the way. You were down. You know, and they were still in reach. It was still earlier on enough that they could come back here. Right. And they, and this play was a big chunk of yards.
Oh, yeah.
This ball was thrown just outside of his reach, And not only he doesn't dive for it, he pulls his arms away and then just lets it fall like in front of him. Like, what are you doing? You had the corner beat, or was a safety on you. You had him beat, so you would have caught it if you did jump and dive for it and come up with it. He might have tagged you down there, but it would have been like a 30-yard gain. And you let it go, and that puts you to like the 4th down. Like, what are you, an idiot? You're not trying? Like, dude, they should trade him right now. You know, fans have been asking for us, I think, for a long time with Nelson Aguilar with his terrible hands, not, you know, either way. But then the fact that your lack of effort in a game that you're down by, and you don't go for it there, I just don't understand that. And that is unacceptable for that.
I
agree with that too as well. So I got your number. Here we go.
Let's get into this.
All right. So, anyways,
Pick
I
some
got
games.
that off my shoulders here. Let's go to Week 8 here. Week 8 picks here, Joe. Let's rock and roll. Mike, you ready? Let's get this. All right. Here we go. Too loud. Sorry. All right. Here we go. The Washington Redskins are traveling to Minnesota to play the Vikings. Vikings are on a tear. Washington gets to go against, you know, their former friend here in Kirk Cousins. And unfortunately, Jake Gruden isn't there to experience this.
Oh, boy.
You know, for them. You know, you've got Bill Callahan over there. But I think Kirk Cousins here at home and the weapons that Minnesota has, Adam Thielen's not playing this game.
No. He
You
pulled
know?
it.
No, he doesn't need. They probably said, "Yo, we're playing Washington. Take a week off, buddy. You're
No,
good."
what actually ended up happening is that touchdown pass he caught last week, his hamstring tightened up on him a little bit, and just enough to kind of keep him out on a short week Thursday night football.
Mike Tackett here about Nelson Aguilar. He says, terrible effort. If I was in charge, I would cut him quicker than the first day employee paper cut at Kinko's. Yeah,
Excellent.
I should have had that one there. Yep.
And in fact, I don't think they're going to cut him. I think he's a trade bait candidate. I think somebody that again that needs help at receiver, it could trade for the young man.
All right, so Washington and Minnesota, I am going with the Vikings.
Are you
here
sure?
To take this one. Yeah.
Are you sure? You
I
don't want to
think
go
I'm
with the
gonna-
Redskins
yeah.
on this one?
No.
It's like Kirk Cousins' revenge.
Yeah,
game.
but isn't Case Keenum the starter now?
Yes.
So, you know, maybe he could channel back to his old Minnesota days, and he's doing an extra VR,
I think
practice
he's in
here with
trouble.
him.
No, I don't. Not all the VR training in the world is going to be able to help this guy. The Vikings defense in Minnesota, mind you. And what makes it worse is it's on national TV. The NFL's done a real shitty job on putting night games together this season.
I think they expected better matchups, and then the way injuries
What?
and other things have happened, I don't know, things didn't
even
work
if
out.
Redskins were fully healthy, it's still not a good one.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
I don't
terrible.
know. Yeah, this one sucks.
So I mean,
last week's
there's
Thursday.
a lot of them. I mean,
Yeah, Kansas City, Denver, that sucks
But
too.
Redskins, Vikings, it's like Kirk Cousins coming home party, coming out party, whatever you want to call it. He's going to look to make a statement against Washington. He wants Dan Snyder to regret moving on from him. So they're going to put up a lot of points. I think the Vikings are. They watch out for Dalvin Cook to also make a statement on national TV. Irv Smith Jr., the rookie at tight end, going to compile up with Kyle Rudolph. I mean, I think it's regardless they don't have Adam Thielen or not, their offense is still going to be clicking on all cylinders, and the defense is going to be hungry as well. I think I got Vikings at home. To me, it's an easy pick.
Definitely. And we've got Seattle in Atlanta. Atlanta is just a far different team now.
What happened?
Yeah, well, they've got Dirk Cutter running the offense.
I don't know
for
what
one,
happened
but
there.
you know the defense is struggling, and like you said, there's only one man to blame for that.
Dan
And
Quinn.
Dan Quinn, and will we see a coaching change? Imagine that. Check this out.
No.
Say they didn't get rid of Dan Quinn. Say they fire him midseason.
Yeah,
Interim coach Dirk Cutter.
that's terrible.
Isn't that? Imagine that. Atlanta
terrible.
fans would be freaking.
I'm
the
telling you
hell
right
out.
now, it's
But
not far-fetched.
it's-
It could happen.
be happening.
If they decide to move on from Quinn, which they have to, and the bye week is coming up for Atlanta, so that's when I expect it to happen. Dan Quinn will be fired, and then who's going to be the interim coach? I hope it's. I hope it's not Cutter. I hope
Yeah.
not.
All right. So I'm just going to be cut and dry. Seattle had a tough loss. And what's funny is when you talk about somebody that hasn't thrown a lot of interceptions, what happens? Interception happens.
That's right.
So, but I
true.
think, Russell Wilson's going to shake that one off, and he's got a great team to play here to bounce back. I like the Seattle Seahawks in this one.
Yeah, what's not to like about Seattle, too? I mean, yeah, they got upset in their own backyard with the Baltimore Ravens coming to town. and that's going to piss them off. You know, they got exposed a little bit last week. They couldn't stop the run, which was surprising to me. And now they're going to be hungry. They're coming to Atlanta. Atlanta's been struggling big time on defense, has been struggling on offense. It's just not looking good for Atlanta. And Seattle coming in there with a very strong team, and now another addition in Quandre Diggs on this defense. I look for Seattle to make a statement and go ahead and get the win in Atlanta.
All right, next up we got the Philadelphia Eagles against the Buffalo Bills. This is going to be a tough matchup here for the Eagles. They thought they had a tough time with the Dallas Cowboys. Now you're going to be playing Buffalo in Buffalo, where they're going to be breaking people through tables and all kinds of crazy stuff. And that's just the fans, not even the players. But so Buffalo, it's going to be tough out. I'd see again, they're going to try and with the way the Dallas Cowboys did. I'd say they're going to try and get the running game going early here. Buffalo is. With a nice mix of Frank Gore and some Devin Singletary.
Yeah.
And then it'll open it up for Josh Allen here, too. So I'm liking Buffalo in this one at home, too. I don't know if exactly is it an upset against the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know.
At this point. Because here's the thing, too, is the Eagles still are not healthy. Mm-hmm. They did, however, last week get back starting corner Jalen Mills, finally. But they're still not healthy. They're still waiting on Ronald Darby to come back, their other starting corner. So they're still missing pieces on that defense. And offensively, still aren't healthy in the receiving core. So I don't think it's really an upset. And we've already seen how much the Eagles D is struggling against the pass. And I think with the Bills, with Frank Gore, Frank Gore is just unbelievable. At his age, and to be still a physical running back and just be able to move the ball like he does is amazing. So, and with this Bills offensive line, I'm sorry, it's not the best O-line, and they're still able to run the ball. Pretty incredible. So, Bills are at home. Bills have a really good defense, and it don't matter if you try to pass on them or try to run on them. They're coming for you. So, I like the Bills' defense better than what the Eagles have to offer. And offensively, we've seen Doug Peterson's lack of game planning last week. It doesn't bode well this week. You're going against a really tough team, and I got the Bills at home as well, beating the Eagles.
All right, Joe's going right along with me here. The Los Angeles Chargers and the Chicago Bears, both teams are struggling. So the Chargers, yes, they've got the injury there at center for them, and they've got Dan Feeney in here doing there, Forrest Lamp.
Just not getting better.
They just hit with the injury bug again, and this consistently is what we're talking about with this team. Last year, where's their spark? And this season, we said, depending if they stay healthy, they could possibly make a run for the division.
Not this season.
And it's not going to happen because the injury bug's there. It just happens with them. Can't get it going, and even despite that, even the receivers and Phillip Rivers, they're not on the same page for some reason. They're not getting it going. Chicago, on the other hand, is Mitch Trubisky taking a step back from last year?
Yes.
It's tough to tell.
Yes.
He isn't playing very good now.
No.
So what do? Do they try and get Le'Veon Bell? Do they try and get him another different target? That might be a little better for him. Or do they just hit the reset button and maybe try and get another quarterback in the draft moving forward?
How about Matt Nagy just call a better game?
Oh, yeah, I agree with that, too, as well. Definitely. Absolutely. But you've got the Chargers defense going against the Chicago Bears defense. And right now, I think the Bears defense is better than the Chargers.
Yeah.
And Chicago's tough at home. I think this is a great bounce-back game here for Chicago to try and get right and keep competitive in this division, because we said it before the season started. This division's going to be tight, and we thought maybe that Detroit would take a back seat towards the bottom, but barely out of contention for this division. But these other teams need to stay in it, because Green Bay could start running away with this thing. So I think Chicago needs to have a win here, and the Chargers are dead in the water.
Yeah, and here's the thing is this game really could go either way. But with the Chargers, all their injuries is really what's killing them right now. Mm-hmm. And so much so that they're having a hard time running the offense of it the way they want to run it. They're having a hard time defensively without Derwin James, without Melvin Ingram. Those are two key components on that defense that just aren't there. And, with the mounting injuries that they've been able to sustain, it's going to be really hard to not only just go into Chicago, but this Bears defense is hungry. They are coming week in and week out after anybody that opposes them. And as much as the Bears offense has been struggling as well, they're just as bad with healthy players as the Chargers are with injured players. So in the end, I think the defense is going to have to win this game for the Bears because, I mean, you look at the Chargers offensive line now, it is in turmoil. It is terrible. And yes, you do have Russell Okung coming back, but I'm sorry. He's going to have the Bears are going to have a field day in the backfield against this Charger offense. So I'm going with Chicago because I just think that the Bears defense is going to make so many more plays to keep the Bears not only in it, but also maybe they get a turnover or two and turn it into points.
Mike Tackett, by the way, you got 13 wins last week, so he was on fire. He ended up taking us he took me by a few. You brought up here, started thinking about it with the Chargers. I went with them last week because I thought maybe with Tennessee, wasn't sure. I liked Ryan Tannehill as a starter coming in. I knew they were going to play better, and it ended up nipping me in the bud by 3 points.
Way better.
Came back and got that game.
That
at the
offense
end.
looks like a completely different offense.
Yeah,
right
and
now.
look at the touchdown pass he threw up the middle. I mean, he's needling it in there, and you know that Marcus Mariota isn't going to make that pass.
No,
so I like it a lot better under Tannehill as well.
Watch out for Marcus Mariota to be a trade candidate, too.
Yeah, that's something different there. All right, here we go. Mike Tackett chimes in. Oh, man, this is coming up. All right. Oh, get rid of that.
Mike Tackett.
Speaking of coaches, if Dallas tanks again this year and Garrett gets the boot, is it safe to say that Jerry Jones' man crush on Urban Meyer will be at an all-time high as he'd guarantee an interview with Zeke's former coach? This is the thing where it could be, but it would be a two-man battle because Lincoln Riley's name is being thrown out there too because he is originally from Texas and he's a Cowboys fan.
Right.
And that's the link there, and you know what he does with quarterbacks. So people are linking him with Dak Prescott instead of the Zeke and Urban Meyer tie there. So I mean, either one I think they could probably go for. But are they though? Because the thing is with those guys, they have strong personalities, and we've seen in the past people with strong personalities, Bill Parcells, Jimmy Johnson, don't really mix with Jerry Jones. I mean, I don't think they're going to be told what to do, and they're going to tell him what to do.
Yeah, I mean, big personalities, but also those big personalities want full control.
Yeah.
And Jerry Jones does not give up control. So, all in all, that's a pipe dream.
It is.
Jerry Jones, as much as he does love Urban Meyer because he's a winner, because he knows how to win, Urban Meyer had a stint with the Miami Dolphins way back. And it didn't go very well in the NFL because it is a completely different breed of coaching. You know, in the NFL, you have to draft your players. You have to groom them. You have to do a lot. In college, they almost inherit all the talent. You know, they go out, they try to, compete in recruiting to get, an absorbent amount of players to come to your school. It's not like in the draft where you only draft like 7 or so. You know what I mean? And that's what you got to work with. These college coaches, they can go out and they can recruit as many players as possible, as many scholarships as they can possibly put out, and they get all that talent in one spot, and they just coach them up. Urban Meyer's going to demand full control, and Jerry Jones won't give that. And because of all that, it's just never going to happen.
Right.
And to be honest, Urban Meyer is so comfortable in college.
Yeah.
He's one of the best college football players in the history of the NCAA, and he will go down a legend. I think he stays with Alabama no matter what offers made.
And the one thing that I could see happening, because the way it breaks down with Jerry Jones, is you're going to see, if they do decide to get rid of Jason Garrett, Kellen Moore, here's your time. You're stepping up. You're the new
Here's
offensive
the next
coordinator.
puppet of the Dallas Cowboys, everybody.
There you go. Yep, there you go. It's, again, he fits
in-house,
well with Dak
baby.
Prescott.
Stay
Here we go,
in-house.
He's a yes man, and there you go. He can maybe have a job for another 10 years, just like Jason Garrett.
That's right.
So, who knows what's going to go on there with them. All right, so we're both going with the Chicago Bears at home. Let's go on to the New York Giants against the Detroit Lions. Now, the Giants, I thought, if anything, had a chance to win last week.
Yeah.
And they let me down completely.
I did too.
And again, Pat Shurmur, I do not like his playing calling at all. I just can't stand him, and he gets worse every week. And I'm done. I'm just writing off on him, and I just can't wait till we get somebody else.
You're stuck with him.
I'm done. Yeah, I know. It sucks. I am very upset with this whole thing. And so the Giants go to Detroit. Detroit's playing a lot better. Detroit's at home. I like Detroit in this one, flat out. Giants are not going to win again. They're not. I'm done. There you go.
So
Book it.
Book it. He says book it.
There you go.
So the Giants, they've slowly been getting healthier. Last week they got Barkley back. They got Evan Ingram back. They didn't use them, like Jim was saying. The offense, they didn't make the right calls, and it just looked awkward. It looked like it was the first time Pat Shurmur had weapons to use, and he wasn't sure how to use them.
And you're on like the 12-yard line, and it's 3rd down and long, and you call a draw play.
It doesn't work, ever. So I don't know. I mean, this game, you don't know what you're going to get week in and week out with the Giants. Yes, they're a little healthier. Will Sterling Shepard came out and self-proclaimed him healthy enough to play until he gets officially
was that
cleared.
The concussion talking? You don't know.
Until he gets officially cleared, that he won't be in the lineup. But that could happen as early as Friday, and then he's in. I think that changes the dynamic of their offense. But defensively, they still can't stop the pass. And what do the Lions do the best? They throw the ball the best. With Matt Stafford and company, the Detroit Lions are home. They are a better team than people give them credit for. And the Giants have a tough game against Detroit. I'm going to go with Detroit at home.
All right, here, Tampa Bay against Tennessee. Again, I'm not high on Jameis Winston. I mean, he might make some good throws here and there, but cannot control the ball. I've seen this guy consecutively, multiple possessions in a row, or in downs, gets just fumbles nonstop, leaving the ball out there, doesn't protect the football enough, and then sometimes makes those dumb bonehead interceptions. And they can't get a running game going at all. So I am not happy with Tampa Bay at all. I like Ryan Tannehill with Tennessee. This is finally the right fit for Tennessee, and I still want to see some more Derrick Henry in this offense, but I'm still liking Tennessee at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, and that's the one thing with Tennessee is they didn't really run the ball last week either. I just don't understand. I
don't know.
They're not mixing it up well enough, and eventually it's going to come to bite them. They're going to be home for another week. And they are playing Tampa, and this is the confusing part. This game is a trap game to me. It's just you think Tampa Bay is just going to keep screwing up, and that's what everybody thinks. Mm-hmm. I really do like Ryan Tannehill at quarterback for the Tennessee Titans going forward, and we've seen already some big-time success with receivers Corey Davis now getting more involved, A.J. Brown, the rookie, and it just seems like this offense is running way better now that Ryan Tannehill is the starting QB. And we kind of had this inclination before the season started when they brought in Tannehill that eventually he could be the starter. But going against Tampa Bay, still not buying Jameis Winston. Still don't think they're going to be able to do enough against Tennessee. And Tennessee has a really good defense, so I'm going to go with Tennessee as well.
All right, here we go. Moving on to the Rams and Cincinnati. Cincinnati is an offer. Early on in the season, they did show a little life, but they can't get it going again. And they have like the worst. What's funny is they have like one of the worst, if not the worst, running offenses in the NFL. And they got Joe Mixon and they got Giovanni Bernard. It seems like they'd be fine.
Offensive line.
Yeah.
It's like Le'Veon Bell situation all over again. They got Joe Mixon, a really good running back. They got Gio Bernard, a really good running back. But guess what? You can't run without an offensive line, and they don't have one. Mm-hmm. And Cordy Glenn's been injured and banged up, and he came back, I believe, last week, and it still didn't matter. So an offense that's struggling under the new head new head coaching of Zach Taylor, and the offense is just not panning out. It's not. And a lot of people had their thoughts about Zach Taylor being so new to calling plays, so new to not only just calling plays, but running a team, that there was a lot of uncertainty, and now we're starting to see that he's just not ready to be a head coach, let alone even a coordinator. So Bengals are going to keep continuing struggling, I think. Bengals are also beat up in the cornerback position. DeAndre Kirkpatrick and William Jackson last week didn't even play. I don't know if they're going to play this week. The Rams, they got a lot to prove because a lot of people are starting to doubt them now because of games that they've lost that they probably should have won. And now they staying in LA at home. Rams defense is going to be hungry. They have Ramsey now. They're going to play tough. Good luck to the Andy Dalton because Aaron Donald's coming for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be tough.
Jared Goff and company on offense. I got the Rams.
All right, me too. I'm going with the Rams too as well. And it's so bad in Cincinnati too, where they're possibly talking about moving. Like people, like fans, they're starting to question Andy Dalton now. Is he going to be on the move? Can he move to a different team and make them better? Can he go to Chicago and make them better? Can he go somewhere else?
To be honest,
see, there you go.
To be honest,
I mean,
I would
that's
be
been floated around there.
I would be down with that, but I don't think Chicago's giving up on Mitchell Trubisky. You know, they did use a high draft pick on him. It's in his second year of Matt Nagy's offense, still trying to grow him and groom him along. So I don't think they're going to do anything crazy like that and pull off a trade. But it wouldn't shock me if they brought him in just as insurance.
So who knows? We'll see that next week possibly with the trade going on. All right, Arizona now. They've got a couple wins under their belt now. They're looking a little better offensively. They made the Giants look absolutely horrible last week, running all over them. Again, Kyler Murray didn't do a whole lot. He did enough to get them to win, but again, they're just a run team, it seems like, surprisingly enough. Going into Jacksonville now. Jacksonville had suffered a few losses, but they came back and they got a game last week.
Again, so are we talking about the Cardinal game?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I jumped for Jacksonville. Sorry. I jumped a line. All right, at the Saints then. So that makes it even easier. I'm just going with the Saints at home. Boom. There you go.
I should have just let you go on.
Bridgewater. Bridgewater's lighting it up. He's going to take Drew Brees' job. Drew Brees is washed up and done.
I should have just let you go with it until.
It's
going to be a tough game. I pick the Saints.
Jacksonville over this one.
Either way, we're going to pick them.
All right. Either way, I'm going with the Saints at home. I mean, they're unstoppable. They're getting it, making it work. Sean Payton just shows what kind of great coach he is and how important he is to that team.
Great coach.
Drew Brees might play, but again, if they're playing the way they are now and they're playing an Arizona team where their defense looks really good, but I think you could be okay here still. I wouldn't rush anything with your quarterback here. Make sure he's okay. I'm sure he's eager to come in.
I mean, that's the thing too. The goal is that Drew Brees is going to start this game. If he's 100%, I'm down with it.
Yeah.
If not, just to keep him out another week. Yeah. Because you are getting Alvin Kamara back this week too. So that's another big weapon to have in there. But the Cardinals, they've been showing. It's like slow progression every week. Their offense is starting to click a little bit better. The defense is playing a little bit better. And they got something to build off from. But you're going into New Orleans right now. A team where the Saints defense is at an all-time high, playing great defense. And if Brees is truly going to be the starting QB in here, I don't think the Cardinals have much of a chance. I mean, it's any given Sunday, but let's be realistic here. This is a playoff caliber team that they're going to have to face. And not only you have to face them, it's not in Arizona, it's in New Orleans. In Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I got the Saints as well.
All right, here we go. New York Jets now against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's at home. The Jets.
What Jets defense will we see this week, everybody?
Yeah, exactly. We're not sure. Jacksonville, I kind of lean towards them because I'm not sure how the Jets are going to perform again. They're a little shaky for me. That offensive line is still banged up. And I just like Jacksonville's personnel a little better. I'm excited for this game here. I'm liking Jacksonville.
I'm really not excited about the Jets offense. And here's the other thing, too, to watch is this game is week 8, right? So you may see a guy by the name of Robbie Anderson maybe not play. Maybe he's inactive all of a sudden because they've already got a deal in place and they don't want to risk injuring him. Along the lines, too, is Leonard Williams. Maybe he doesn't get rotated in as much or something like that. That's something to keep an eye on to kind of really indicate if they're going to trade these guys before the deadline. But going into Jacksonville, good luck, Sam Darnold. Good luck, Jets. I think the Jets defense will be okay, but I think eventually they just get tired. The Jaguars offense is playing very well. DJ Chark is made a big name for himself this year. It's almost his breakout party this season. Leonard Fournette, a different Leonard Fournette, trimmed down, got rid of the bad weight around him, and now he's like a rookie all over again. Really playing well with this good offensive line. I like the Jaguars and their defense to go right after Bella and Sam Darnold.
This is scary. We're picking a lot of the same, or we're picking a lot of home games. All right, here we go. Denver and Indianapolis.
Keep it going.
All right, Denver goes and suffers a loss last week to the the Chiefs there in a game where they take out Patrick Mahomes, but he seems he might be coming back. Denver just is they're I don't know if they know what their identity is still. They're up and down.
No, they
can't
don't.
get the offense going.
It's Cortland
can't run.
Sutton or
I mean,
bust.
Yeah. Basically,
And
they
Phillip
just
Lin-
traded
and
away
Phillip
the wide
Lindsay.
receiver here. Indianapolis, they just find ways to win. What I like about these guys is Frank Reich isn't from the Bill Belichick tree, but he plays the games much like Belichick would. He sees what's going on, comes up with a game plan. Not only
To
just tries
attack
to
the
take out the weakness, but changes his offense. They're like transformers. They'll be a run heavy at one point, or they'll go passing heavy.
Right.
Whatever it takes to win the game, but still keep an applied pressure. That's what you do. You pay attention to the game and you work it the way you take what they're giving you, and that's what I like about the Colts here. And just because of Andrew Luck went down early on the season and decided to retire, you still have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL and a great defense. I'm liking the Indianapolis Colts here at home.
A lot of good
against the
weapons,
Broncos.
and what's not to like about this? And Frank Reich, he's doing. Jim just said he's doing the same thing as Bill Belichick, and nobody really talks about this guy. The guy he's a great coach. He's a great offensive mind, and I'm saying coach of the year in the NFL. I think he's doing an amazing job, and he does exactly that. He on offense, he attacks your weakness on defense, and the defensive coordinator for the Colts, gotta give him props, man. Gotta give him props. He's got a lot of young guys that are playing great for him, and they added Justin Houston in this offseason, and it's really kind of
Justin
boosted
Houston looks good.
their pass rush there. But Denver Broncos, you just got rid of Sanders, and even though he was a very intricate piece of this offense, Cortland Sutton has kind of taken a big step forward in this, and one of Joe Flacco's favorite targets. But I don't think one target is going to help you on offense. We do know they like to run with Phillip Lindsay and Royce Freeman, but Broncos' offensive line is not good. And Joe Flacco has been under duress week in and week out. Colts are going to do much of the same. And not only that, also rack up points. I got the Colts at home as well.
All right, there we go. And Carolina and San Francisco. I think this is a nice game here. This could be another test for
This is a brutal
San
one.
Francisco here. This is going to be interesting because you've got the running backs on both sides. You've got two good defenses. Ron Rivera's got this Carolina defense playing really well. And Eric Reed's really excited to go play against his old team here. He's marked this day on his schedule. All right, so he's looking to play San Francisco. There have been questions around here with Jimmy G is like they haven't seen the guy that they had flashes of, a year or so ago, and they're looking for him to control a game finally and not just kind of balance it out on this running game. We'll see what happens with this one in San Francisco. It's going to be a tough out, but
It is.
man, odds with San Francisco. Oh, man. You know what? I'm going to go towards San Francisco, I think, just to stay undefeated. Why not? Let's do it. This is the one I'm going to lose. If it is, I don't care
think so.
because it's going to be tough.
To be honest, this is a very tough game. It's kind of one of those games where it's unpredictable because the Niners have a really good defense. The Panthers have a good defense. The Panthers' offense is much better now with Kyle Allen, and the Niners' offense. I mean, it's like they're kind of like ball busters. Just when you think that you're going to be able to, we got them figured out. Just got to stop the run game. Jimmy G is throwing to he's throwing to George Kittle. He's throwing to now they have Emmanuel Sanders. If they can get Emmanuel Sanders to learn even some of the playbook, he's going to come into become a big part of this offense and definitely going to be utilized in this game. So I like the Niners at home. They're home. They've proven to me week in and week out that they are not only just a legitimate team, but they're one of the best defenses in football right now. And until something gets proven otherwise, I got to go with the Niners.
All right, here we go. Oakland and Houston now. Oakland is going into Houston, another road game for the Oakland Raiders. And Houston Texans fall last week to a tough game here against the Indianapolis Colts, what we talked about just a few times ago here. This could be a tough game, I think, altogether for both teams. I'm going to side with Houston just because they are at home. I think Oakland is going to be putting up a really good fight here. This could be a real close game, but I'm going to just lean towards Houston just because they're at home and they get heightened at a heightened level. They play at a heightened level.
play at a heightened level. They do have now. Here's the funny thing: is the Raiders just traded Gary Conley.
So that's why
to
you
the
kind of see
Houston
the they mark
Texans.
this on this, you know.
I'm just questioning why they traded him before
Before
they
you were gonna
played
play
him,
him?
and not like Monday. Like traded him to them Monday.
Maybe they said like this guy has been giving up the
Here's
play,
the-
so let's put him on here. We're just
here's
going to throw at him.
Here's the thing, too, is now how healthy are the Raiders on offense? Because last week they were without Trent Brown at right tackle. They were without Tyrell Williams yet again. I'm hearing that Tyrell Williams has practiced Wednesday today. And if he continues to practice, he's trending to starting. And if they get Tyrell Williams back along with all these other weapons that they have, I really do like the Raiders' offense. And Josh Jacobs been able to run all over people. Texans have been giving up a ton of passing yards. And with Darren Waller coming to town, if Tyrell Williams is there, I don't think the Raiders' offense misses a beat here. The one question I have, though, is the Raiders' defense. Now that you've traded Gary Conley away, who was considered your number one,
Yeah.
Trayvon Mullen looks like he's going to step in, the rookie, and he's going to get picked on, and every rookie does. It's kind of like a rite of passage in the NFL. As soon as you get that starting nod, Deshaun Watson going to test you. So, and DeAndre Hopkins, I don't know where they're gonna try to line Hopkins up against obviously Trayvon Mullen.
Yeah.
They're gonna try to mix some things up and that sort of thing. It's all about who makes the best game plan and who executes it the best way. This one to me is kind of like a toss-up. And Houston at home, they just came off a loss, right? They lost.
Yeah,
last
they
week,
just
right?
lost to Indianapolis Colts in a
lost
tight
to the
one.
Colts, and that's a division game. That's big.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're going to come back hungry, and they're going to try to fend off the Raiders. I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to say the Raiders, and I normally don't pick my Raiders.
There you go.
I
All
like
right.
I like the offense, and if they are healthy, like if Trent Brown is there and Tyrell Williams, I got the Raiders if they're healthy.
Okay, there you go. So you may if they're not going to be in it, you want me to slot you in for the
If they don't have Trent Brown and Tyrell
Yep.
Williams, then I will go with
Okay,
Houston.
okay.
Because I'm never
Yeah,
fully
that's fine.
confident with my
I
team.
pay attention to it. Yeah, I've paid attention to who's going in and out, and I made an adjustment, so we're good. All right, Cleveland now going into New England. The problem is, New England, they might have an easier schedule and stuff like that, but at least put them on the Oakland. Why you got to pick on Oakland and give them the long road runs? Why not have the Patriots if they have the easiest schedule? Put
Yeah.
them on the long road. Why are they always playing at home? I don't get this, but Cleveland's got to go in there now, and they've been in a hot and cold team. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Freddie Kitchens, I think, is going to crap his pants going into this game. He's going to be seeing ghosts all over, because again, for him, he's an offensive mind that just again, I don't think is paying attention. You've said that maybe I'm not correct on this, but it seems like it to be a lot of times with some of these coordinators, they get in their head that this is what they're going to do, and they're not really looking what's going on the field and making the adjustments like Belichick would do. So I think Freddie Kitchens is going to be in over his head on this one going into New England, and I like in New England, flat and simple.
I mean, listen, we've learned.
Although I'll be happy if Cleveland wins.
We've learned a lot about the Cleveland Browns in the last several weeks. And me and Jim have both stated, what's their biggest problem? It's not weapons. It's not that Baker Mayfield is a bad quarterback or anything like that. He's a good quarterback, but what did he have last season, everybody? He had protection. And he doesn't have that this season. They've lost too much on that offensive line. And we've seen John Dorsey. I'm telling you right now, John Dorsey makes moves all year round. Before the trade deadline hits, I'm sorry, but John Dorsey's he has to pull off a move and try to get at least one tackle, if not a couple of offensive linemen. We already know right now that there's rumors swirling around that Trent Williams is one of those targets. He's trying to get a deal done with Trent Williams. Also, if that kind of falls through, because that's really what they want, as a fallback plan, there's stories being reported that, Nate Solder might be the next target from the Giants to acquire. In the end, I think it doesn't. To me, if they do go with Trent or Nate Solder, it's got to be some kind of an upgrade because their offensive line is just playing terrible. So for this game, the Browns defense, they've been hampered in the secondary on defense. there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot not to like about the Cleveland Browns right now. They've struggled because of that lack of protection. You're going against not only a great offense, but right now a defense in the NFL that's rated number 1, and they put a lot of pressure on the opposing offenses. It's hard. You can't go against the Patriots in this one. New England all the way. They're home.
Yeah, there you go. So there's a lot. We're going to have some losses here, Joe. We have all home games.
All home
teams
games,
except
baby.
for Seattle.
There's going to be a lot of upsets.
Who knows? We'll see. And you have Oakland here. That's different, though. So, all right, here we go. It's Thursday night. It's a Thursday night game. We get to hear Chris Collinsworth say some very awkwardly uncomfortable phrases about balls, men. It's very strange what he comes out with sometimes. And Al Michaels just goes along with it in his Hawaiian shirt. All right, here we go. We've got the Green Bay Packers squared off against Matt Moore and the Kansas City Chiefs, unless Patrick Mahomes goes in here. So if we got Patrick Mahomes,
No Mahomes.
they have the matchup that they wanted to see here. Instead, it's Matt Moore here. It's going to be tough for, I think, this Kansas City defense here because the way this offense has been running, I think they, one, have to get Aaron Jones involved, and two, after that, just get it rolling. You know what I mean? It seems like the wide receivers have been able to click here, minus
Absolutely. Devontae Adams is probably coming back this
That'd
week.
Be great.
He
That'd
was
be
held
great
out last
pickup
week.
for him.
Looks like he'll be due to come back this week.
And
Although
at
it
times,
is still
this
midweek.
defense look a little suspect here, so this offense will still score points against this defense here. But, again, with Matt Moore at the helm, I like in Green Bay chances here, and I'm going with the away team.
Way to change it up, Jim.
Yes. Really going out on a
Here's the
limb on
thing,
this
you know, if Patrick Mahomes is there at the helm, we're having a completely different
it's a good
discussion.
shootout, yeah.
I don't have a lot of confidence in Matt Moore because from what I saw last week, I saw a breakdown in pass defense against the Chiefs, and that's why Tyreek Hill had a couple of big plays when Matt Moore was in there. But that offense didn't quite run the same, and it won't. They have their backup in. So I think this Chiefs offense is going to take a small step backwards. It's not going to really be disastrous. They're still going to be, at least adequate, and they're going to put up some points. But the Packers, they likely are getting Devontae Adams back this week, a huge weapon that they've been missing. Aaron Jones, you can run on the Chiefs. Their defense isn't that great. I think the Packers will be able to run on the Chiefs with Aaron Jones. They're going to be able to distribute the ball. Jimmy Graham is now being a little bit more involved in this offense. They're mixing it up between the receivers and the tight end and the running backs. And defensively, I think Packers are going to give the Chiefs a little bit more fit. So I am too. I'm going with Green Bay.
All right, there you go. And let's move it along right to Monday Night Football. Dun, 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 dun. There we go.
And your matchup, this is why I say the NFL has a shitty job of scheduling. The Miami Dolphins against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Where we get to see
I
Ryan Fitzmagic, square up against
Mason Rudolph.
And Fitzmagic.
Do you believe in
on the other side.
Fitzmagic?
It's the Fitzmagic game all over.
It is.
So imagine that if Fitzmagic throws an interception to Fitzmagic.
Be awesome.
It could happen. That would
Could
be
happen.
amazing.
The other thing too
That would
here.
be the only exciting thing about this game, I think.
The other thing too here is to watch for Devontae Parker could be a trade candidate as well from Miami.
I heard Kenyon Drake could be a trade candidate
As
too.
well, yeah.
It's amazing the trade candidates. You want to talk about when you were? It made me think of it when you were talking about Kansas City when they were playing Denver. Chris Harris is on the trading block
Yeah.
apparently too. So I mean, there's a
Lot of money.
of vibes going around with here. I'm excited to talk trades next week and stuff. We'll see what happens to the trade deadline.
There's a lot of hype building up, but I
We'll
temper
see.
your expectations because trades don't happen really that often
Let's
as
just
we get
crazy.
closer.
Come on. All right, but we got to talk about that because this game sucks. It's Miami
This game
Dolphins.
is awesome. I don't know what you're talking
The
about.
Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm just going to make it cut and dry here. I think Miami's been playing a little bit better from what they have. But I like Pittsburgh's chances here because I thought they've been doing a very good job with Mason Rudolph at the helm and being able to work with the weapons that they have. And that defense still looks good. Even though they don't have Stephon Tuitt, I understand that.
Right.
Down by injuries.
Still
but
a good
I think
defense.
that defense is great. I think they're going to win here at home.
I mean,
Really reaching on that one.
just why? I mean, can we get an NFL
Why didn't
flex?
they flex? Yeah, why don't they
Can we flex a game here?
They should flex to Cleveland, New England, or something like that. Seeing it's already late.
No, that would be bad too.
Yeah, I guess so. But what else are you going to do?
I'd-
Buffalo, Philadelphia,
Panthers-Niners.
just change 0 together?
Panthers-Niners should be the Monday night game.
Yeah, okay. I'm
That
down
should be
with
the
that.
Monday night
Yeah,
game.
yeah, the battle of the two undefeated, or undefeated there. To
I
keep
mean,
going. Yeah.
it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Come on, NFL. Jesus.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you got
No,
the
you gotta make a pick
Dolphins.
for this one.
You got the
What do you
Steelers. Dolphins they're trying to, I mean, I don't know what they're trying to do, really. Brian Flores sounds like Mike Tyson on the sidelines. And they're just not a whole lot going for them. And they're already looking to deal more talent, more young talent by the trade deadline. Not looking good. Steelers are home. Mason Rudolph is returning at the quarterback position. What's not to like about the Steelers defense? Yeah, Pittsburgh at home all the way.
All right, there you go. There's our picks. Joe and I have everything the same except for the Oakland game. So hopefully Oakland, they start whatever, and that could be a difference. If not,
They're probably going to lose.
right now the standings are tied right now. We are tied, and it could be a tie next week, going into next week. So I like it how it's nice and close. Last year, not so much. This one's nice and close. It's very exciting. We'll keep up with it. That's our show for tonight. Everybody, all you know-it-alls out there, keep inviting more friends to our Facebook group. Get on to YouTube and hit the subscribe. You don't know exactly, yes, it's cool to when you're surfing Facebook, you see that we're going live, but also you don't need to open your Facebook app to watch us. Just watch us on YouTube. You're already on there watching YouTube videos. Just watch us too as well. And spread the love there too. Tell your friends and neighbors.
Yeah.
Go ahead, hit the
Friends
subscribe
of
if you like
friends.
football. Coworkers. I've invited
Anybody.
a bunch of coworkers and they've joined too. It's been a lot of fun. Bringing them along too as well. And next week we have our Halloween extravaganza show, and that's always fun. We get really excited for Halloween, Joe. We get into it. We get all dressed up and decorate the studio and everything. So it's going
Yes,
to be
sir.
a whole lot of fun. We appreciate everybody checking out with us tonight. Shout out to Mike Tackett, John Turner in the house tonight, and everyone else that decided to visit too as well. Follow us on Twitter at FB_no too. We also try to give up all those trade updates and stuff like that. Get on there, post some funny tweets out there too. We have a bunch of friends on there that we jaw back and forth with too as well. So it'll be a lot of fun on Twitter. And anything else for him to Joe?
I just want to really quick thank some of the people that helped us make the show what it is.
That's true.
Down Monday.
Down Monday.
They allow us to play some of their music.
Yeah.
We have Stephen Murray from VoiceActorGarage.com.
Yes. Yep.
If you're looking for a guy who loves to do sports trivia, he loves to do voiceovers, he's the man.
He is.
He's literally like the voice in the background for us. Who always does our intros. He does a lot of the funny skits for us. Great guy. Make sure you show him some love. Down Monday, thank you very much. And everybody, thank you so much for your support thus far. It's been an amazing journey. I mean, we're 3 years in. This is our first year on YouTube. So we would love nothing more than to help build our family on YouTube and help us grow just by hitting the subscribe button. And if you feel in your hearts to do so, hit the notification bell while you're there to get all the latest updated content whenever we go live.
All right, that's it for us this week. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you guys for next week for Halloween.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday night for more Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.